everyone. Welcome back to No Sugar with Everything Krause. I feel like a floating head. That's how. Like truly, that's what you're like. Oh, it looks good. The cut of this sweater with no hair down and like you can't see the bun. Where is it? Literally floating. Should I take my hair down?
Oh my god, dude. That struck me so funny because
It's true.
I wasn't expecting you to say that. So then, I'm not gonna lie, when we do these virtual recordings, I do look at myself a lot.
Well, duh. It's hard not to.
Yeah, and I wasn't looking at you in that moment. I was looking at me, and you said I look like a floating head, and my eyes literally went like gazed over to you, and all I saw was your skin, and I was like, bro, you're literally the portrait that I like paint in school.
Yeah.
Like when it's like one of those things in the museum, like you even got the neck coming down.
Yeah. With no arms. This is the only part I would draw. The shoulder comes out.
Oh my god, I'm in tears.
That is it.
I'm literally in tears. Oh.
Should I put my hair down? Like seriously, should I put my hair down? It's partly wet.
I think we have to leave it up for everyone now.
All right. I'm just
look, there it is. There's the bun.
The back of your head is ridiculous. You remember that sound?
Sorry for this crazy intro, everyone. You all need to go over to the YouTube channel right now if you're not watching, just to go look at Kateri and talk, like see what we
and laugh at me
about, and laugh at her because I think you will chuckle quite a bit. Like I literally couldn't contain it there.
And honestly, it's okay because this is me and this is the real. This is me and I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. So floating in air.
Real. That was a banger in Camp Rock.
Yeah,
I love that duet. If no one knows what
you're the voice I hear
inside my head, the reason that I'm singing.
I wanted to sing.
You. Like, come on, Shane, you didn't know it was her? Come on.
I wanted to sing it as well.
You really thought it was Tess? Tess like popped out trying to sing that song. I was like, Tess, honey, you don't have the vocals of Demi.
Did Tess ever do anything else after Camp Rock, that actress?
I don't know. She looks familiar.
Or was she a one-hit wonder? Well, or a couple hit wonder because, Camp Rock and multiple. Anyway, let's not get into all this stuff.
Welcome back to No Sugar, everyone. Today's episode, we really just wanted to talk about staying true to yourself in a world where we feel like they push the opposite agenda, where they want you to fit the mold and kind of follow the crowd instead of being that leader. Specifically, we wanted to talk about ways that we are able to stay true to ourselves in that culture, because we will admit it, there are times when we are caught up caring about other people's opinions or doing what the crowd wants to do, and it never really fuels us or makes us feel our best, because when we are naturally who we are, obviously that is when we are going to feel the best. So we wanted to share some tips that have really been helping us on this journey, just constantly stay true to ourselves and embrace who we are.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like with social media, that can be really hard, whether you're posting a lot on Instagram, like as an influencer or content creator, or you just have like your own personal account. Social media is such a world where you have to like think before you post, and you have to kind of worry about, do I edit this photo? Do I not edit? And it can be hard, especially I think the ages we are in our 20s, when people tend to be a little less confident in who they are as a person. It's just, as you get older, you get more confident in who you are. So that's what's kind of scary about social media, is like the younger demographic that it is hitting right now. Like I'm lucky enough that I'm super confident in who I am, so I don't feel as affected, but like who is it affecting who's 15 years old?
No, you're so right. Like I feel like we grew up not exactly in the heat of social media. Like I would say the heat of it is right now. So we were able to establish that confidence in who we were prior to it. But these 15-year-olds who are in the heat of it now, like they're almost learning to start with insecurities. You know what I mean? Like they never really built that base of confidence. It's just, oh, that girl's that girl's this guy's this, like insecure.
And I feel like if
crazy.
And it, if you're not confident in who you are, but if say you are younger and you see like one mean comment or like DM to you trying to define who you are, like you take that and almost you begin to believe it, because you are like, well, if someone else said it, it must be true. Like they're seeing me, so that must be true. And then I feel like you kind of embody what these people say to you. And that can be at any age too, of just hateful comments, and people might not be getting hateful comments on just like random personal things, but like if you see people are sending your post a lot, you're like, well, what are they saying about me? Like on my personal page, when I get a lot of sends on a post, I'm like, why did they choose to send that specific post?
Yeah.
Like,
Like what
are
are
they like, it can be easy to be like, are they sending it with like, what is she doing? Oh my God, she looks so good. She looks so bad. Like, what is this type vibe? Like, you have no idea what people are saying about you. And I feel like that's really where this topic even stems from is social media. I don't feel like this would be a topic without the world that we live in.
I 100% agree with that because
Mhm.
social media is the source of instant validation. Like you wouldn't know or even care if someone was talking about you. You wouldn't know that they're talking about you if you didn't post and you saw that it was sent 20 times.
Yeah.
Like it's just, it's a trigger. It really is. Well, and I want to also say, Kateri, like it's okay. It's okay to wonder what people are saying about you. Like when I see sends on my post, I do the same thing. It's a human with us. I'm like, I wonder if that was a bad comment. It's like what I said, it's the human within us. But I think really you have to choose how to perceive it next. And the mindset that I always take on that is other people's perception of me is not my responsibility.
Mhm.
And once I recognize that the way they are seeing me and the way that they view my life or they think about what I'm doing with my life is because they are wired in their own specific way. Just like I'm an individual, they're an individual. And if they were exactly like me, that would be weird. Like the
Mhm.
point is that we're different, and it's okay if they're talking about me because that means we're different, and that means that I'm staying true to myself. Like I
Mhm.
kind of flipped it in a sense where I was like, it's not my fault if they view me in that lens because that's their eyesight. That's not my
Yeah.
eyesight.
And
Like
it's like it's not your responsibility to convince them otherwise. Like
exactly. Like
if
I know
they
who I am.
and I feel like that's really all that matters. If you know who you are and you're living your true self, everything else lines up in your life and is whoever is meant to be in your life accepting of you for who you are, like they come in your life for a reason. And I
Hmm.
feel like when you live in this kind of fake world or you aren't sure who you are, we all go through like moments like that. That's when you find yourself in a friend group that you don't love, that you don't align with. You find yourself in maybe a career that you don't align with, and things in your life don't feel fluid, they don't feel good. But when you come back to yourself and you really figure out what you like and who you are as a person, other things just start to kind of line up. And I feel like we notice that a lot when, of course, like we are on social media as content creators as well. We have our personal pages, but like our main focus is Everything Krause. And our following has been growing. So I feel like we're even like more responsible for
Hmm.
staying true to ourselves now because now more eyes are on us and it's easy to like gain followers and want to post less of our true selves because we don't want to be judged, right? Like
Hmm.
sometimes the initial feeling is like, oh, should I post that story? But then it's like, no, that's the point is post this like there's only 5 people watching. Like
Yeah.
there's no one else watching. That's the type of content I feel like we really try and focus on. So I guess I bring that up because obviously social media is like a big part of our life. And the more we're posting, I feel like personally we've done a great job at not changing who we are because our follower count is changing and
Hmm.
our engagement is changing. And, the people we're reaching, like the companies, the brands, things like that, I don't feel like we are changing who we are, which is really good, but that's right now.
Hmm.
Like who knows what's going to happen, right? But I think one of the things that me and you both do, and at least we try to do, like I said, is if you send me something, you're like, should I just post it? I'm like, yes, because that's how you're feeling. Those are your words. Those are your authentic Isabel words that are always so powerful and strong. Like post that. The world should see that. And vice versa. If I send you something of like, ooh, is that weird? You never are like, yeah, no, that's weird. Don't
Yeah.
post that. Like that's sharing
Well,
too much. It's never like, don't do it. It's just like, go for it and don't think about it. Don't question it. And then in the end, I think we're both always happy when we just post what we actually feel passionate about and what is really our life.
yeah. I almost think exactly what you just said, Kateri, is such a like you guys can use that as a metric of when you are starting to care what people think. Because whenever I text Kateri, like, should I post this? I know that I'm thinking about if I should post it because I'm concerned about what other people will think. And that's when I know, okay, post it even if you don't want to. Now,
Mhm.
like, even if I felt I didn't want to because I am still scared about what they think, I force myself to post it anyway because I'm like, well, clearly I want to. Like, clearly I made this draft. Clearly I wrote that caption because it fueled me And the only thing stunting me right now is the perception of other people. And when I ask you that, it becomes so clear to me that I'm caring about it. So
Mhm.
I don't know, I always like to use that as a metric of like, oh, I just asked Kateri, that means I have to post it now. I know that kind of sounds weird, but it's like a good way to realize, oh, look at me caring.
Yeah, because it's not like you ask me every story or every post, right? There's
Yeah.
only certain ones too, so then it's even more clear like which ones are sticking out more that maybe are a little uncomfortable at first because it's so like raw and honest or true.
Yeah.
And I think that also, I don't know if you've been along the Everything Krause journey for since the beginning or like you're new now, we have come a long way. Like when we
Yeah.
first started Everything Krause, I
Wow.
remember we like tried to post more fashion and just again still sticking to lifestyle, but I definitely feel like we catered to like the aesthetic photos and oh, we don't have a fashion post up, like let's take outfit photos. Like right, it wasn't very authentic in a sense that it felt very forced. And
Hmm.
now it's more so we don't focus on like, okay, we need to make sure we dress cute and go out and take photos just for Instagram. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, if we get a cute photo at an event, sure. But
Yeah.
it's not like it didn't ever really align with us. Like we aren't these like fashionista girls. Of course, I love our styles, but like we
Yeah.
were never, we're not like the, I think of like the acquired style. She
Like I
has
would
an
never want to be that either way.
yeah,
Like,
and
you
sh
know what I
and
mean?
that's, like, her she is so good at that, she has such amazing style, and, like, that's who she is, right? Like, that's the content she enjoys putting out. Now we see trickles of her life, but, like, she started fashion, right? And that was never gonna be us. We started lifestyle, and now we're even I think as we get older and as we get more comfortable in our skin, we're going even deeper into posting the stuff that we want to post, even if it doesn't match the vibe of how we started. Like we post about food and healthy eating and working out so much more now than we did in the beginning because we have better relationships with those aspects of our life. It is truly what we're passionate about. It's what we care about.
Hmm.
And I think the more you dive into learning about yourself, aligning with yourself, you just automatically start being like, well, this is what I like and this is what I feel. So I'm going to stick this way. And I'm not
Yeah.
going to worry about like the other paths that people are presenting to me. Like I'm going to stay on my own, basically.
Yeah. And like being okay with not every path being for you. Like I
Yes.
remember when I first had that realization about fashion content, I was upset because I do love fashion
Hmm.
personally, but I didn't love posting myself. I didn't love posing for cameras in an outfit. I didn't love thinking of 20 different ways to style. And that's kind of when I realized like you can like fashion, but it just may not be what fuels you. It may not be the content that sets your heart on fire. And that
Hmm.
was a hard realization for me at first because I felt like I needed to be everything. Like I'm a lifestyle creator. I need to love everything that about my life.
Hmm.
And like what you just said, once we started tapping into the content that really aligned with us, like I love talking about healthy eating. I love talking about fitness. And I love sharing that information with other people. It makes me so happy. And it's crazy to see how our following has increased when we started embracing the side of us that is so naturally coming out. And I'm
Hmm.
like, wow, like it truly comes down to authenticity. But I also kind of going off that, I want to talk about our journey with self love. Now, we are not experts on self love. I think Kateri and I, we always have ways and ways to go to improve that because we're human. But we've both worked very hard on, I don't know how to word it. I don't know how to word it. I just think we both worked very hard on falling in love with ourselves. Like, and truly understanding what makes us unique and what makes us different. And instead of being scared by them, embracing those aspects of ourselves. And when you embrace the aspects instead of viewing it as a negative, like that's where the self love comes. And that's a
Hmm.
really hard shift to make to get to like, how do I embrace it? Like, you kind of have to take the negativity away from it. And something that I personally did to get to this place where I was like okay with embracing my differences was when I used to go on my gratitude rampages and I would pray to God. Not used to, I still do, but in the beginning, I feel like of my self love journey, I used to do gratitude rampages. And instead of saying things that I was just grateful for in life, I would do a mini rampage about myself. And I would say all of the things that made me different and why I loved that I had that different quality. So I would like point out, like, I don't love to drink or party. I'm kind of a loner and I don't really get along with most of the girls in my age because I'm not really like them. Now, I used to view that as a negative, like, oh, why don't I just fit in? And then when I went on that gratitude rampage, I just totally flipped it and was like, I love that about myself because now I can work on EK. Now I'm so close to my siblings and my circle are truly people who really align with me. Like I found the beauty in my differences and it
Mhm.
made me want to embrace them and it made me really fall in love with them. And that's why I feel we can be so true to ourselves because I love who I am now. Like I love everything about me. I love how weird I am because I am weird. I am
Mhm.
weird as shit. I really am. And I love that about me because I wouldn't want to be anyone else. Like I
Mhm.
always think about the other people in the world. And when I compare myself to them, I'm like, thank God on me.
Yeah,
And they should be
facts.
saying that about themselves too.
And I think the key point in what you just said was when you started that self-love journey, you almost were addressing the things that you didn't like about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, obviously, you just said that, but I feel like pointing out what you don't like about yourself is where you have to start.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't know what you don't like about yourself, you don't know what you need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that sounds harsh, but like literally, almost like pick yourself apart, but in an honest way and in a very like vulnerable way to be able to change it around. Like not I don't mean like sit there pick apart like I hate this like extra skin on my thigh and
Yeah.
like every little thing. I just mean like those big things of being like I don't love to party. That a lot of people don't want to address that and they just want to like
Mm-hmm.
force themselves to do something, right? So kind of confront your biggest fears, the things you don't want to say out loud. And most of the time when you start doing that, like the other maybe insecurities you have will like knock on your door because until you address them, you can't get rid of them. Like
Yeah.
they're gonna stay there until you face them head on. And that comes with the self-love journey. And I do feel like that's where we both started for sure. Like it was definitely the gratitude rampage for me of saying like everything I didn't like about physically, like mentally, like where I felt weak or, you know, what insecurities I had about myself that I felt like held me back. Anything I really I would like write them down almost and like write the opposite of them. Like, well, what's the
Yeah.
opposite feeling that you want to feel? And once I wrote them down, it was almost like releasing that old negativity and allowing new space for like new thoughts, new thought patterns around what I was insecure about. And like the more you work on that, the more those thought patterns really do get like engraved in your mind. Like you
Yeah.
cannot think another way about yourself. There is no, oh, I hate this about me because it makes me different. It's like, oh my God, I love this about me because it makes me different. There
Yeah.
was no one else who can do what I can do because I am me and no one else is me. And I feel like that's the most empowering, great feeling, but it does take a lot to get there. And everyone's journeys do look different. So there's only like so much like what Iswell did looks different from what I did to really fall in love with myself. There's conversations I had with myself that I will never have with anyone else because it's not for anyone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's things I had to tell myself to pull myself out of that like comparison mentality of that insecure mentality and I think we were both lucky enough to be born with this sense of confidence, but
But
I don't know.
it's also recognizing those insecurities. Like that may seem hard at first, but when you do recognize them and work on them and prove those insecurities wrong, that's where the confidence comes from.
Yeah, yeah,
Like yes,
truly.
I do think I don't know, not that confidence runs in our family, but none of us have a problem with it, so I think it may have something to do with how we were raised.
It's not even confidence, I feel like it's more like leadership,
Yeah.
personality,
Yeah,
like,
we
that
all
really shines through with us, like, we all kind of like to feel that leadership
hmm But I,
vibe.
yeah, but I think we grew our confidence the most and at scale the most by confronting the flaws within ourselves and then proving them wrong. Like I'm no
Mhm.
longer insecure about certain things because I'm like, no, I just shut that insecurity up. Like there you
Exactly,
go. You
and
wanted
when
to
I
think that way. See ya.
yeah, and I was literally just telling Isabel before the recording that I was having, like, body dysmorphia issues this week, and it's like, yes, I said that out loud, but then immediately recording this, I'm like, you're showing up every single day and doing the work. How
hmm
can you actually think like that? And I, just by saying that to myself, of like, did you wake up today and work out? Yes. Did you wake up today and have a healthy, nutritious, well balanced meal? Yes. Are you going to walk later? Yeah. Like, you know, I'm doing all the things that allow me to shut that body dysmorphia out of my mind because I'm literally proving that negativity wrong. I'm saying you are wrong because here is the proof. The proof is in the pudding. I'm
Yeah.
doing the work and we we often say how to build confidence is doing the things that you say you're going to do.
Well, because it allows your mind to not, like, if you just tell yourself that, no, okay, it's fine, I've been working out, it's hard to kind of believe that when you have this negative thought. Like, the negative thoughts are strong. It's hard to just battle them with a positive thought. But if you do the action, it makes it a lot easier to fight them off. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we really resonate with taking action on our insecurities.
Well, because I like can't, I don't know, like I have to do the opposite of what I'm feeling
I
almost.
know.
Like
I know.
not like I have to feel like I earned it but it's just like until I prove myself wrong. Are you okay over there?
I'm like, my hair is like, my hair. It's just,
Maher.
my hair is like a mane today. Like, it's glued to my face here, but then it's like you back up and it's like, it's kind of funny because I feel like the shift that I'm at right now is that I'm now more scared of being like everyone else than being different, which is really a great place to be at. And I don't know, I'm just so scared of being a sheep that's lost in the crowd. Like, I want to be that lion that stands out, and it's more fearful to be average to me. And I'm not saying that they're average, but when you're trying to blend into the mold of the world and do everything like everyone else, you're definitely not different. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that thought scares me more now that I almost do more weird shit and like embrace the side. Like, I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh, I love the sun. But then I like go an extra mile on social media to show people that I freaking love the sun because it does this, this, and this, because I'm like, yeah, I'm that different, bitch. Sorry for my language, but like, I feel like it makes me want to, the fear of being like everyone else makes me want to embrace who I am even more. And I think that's such a good way to look at it. Like, once you
Mm-hmm.
realize that being different is
Your
just
superpower.
awesome. Yeah, it's
It's
your
literally.
superpower. Literally being different is your superpower in the world. It actually is, because if you're the same as everyone else, where is your advantage? Like, it's almost like when you think about a business, like when someone gives a business plan, they always have to point out how they're different from other companies and what their advantage is on that. It's
Mm-hmm.
the same with you as a person. If you want to make it in this world and climb to the top and be that 1%, you have to be different than other people. You have
Mm-hmm.
to be wired differently.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a realization that I just had right now.
Uh-huh. That was a good realization.
I have a quote going through my mind right now that I want to share just because I feel like it really aligns with what we're talking about right now. And it's, confidence is not, I hope they like me. It's, I'll be okay if they don't. And I feel like that just totally encapsulates everything we're saying right now.
Mm-hmm. I feel like when you live in that mindset too, that's why it all comes back to like truly loving who you are to your core, because at the end of the day, if it was only you left, if you only had you left, would you be okay? And if the answer is no, like you have to dig deeper and figure out why. Ask
Mm-hmm.
yourself, why wouldn't you be okay? Because chances are when you're looking for like the outside validation, when you're looking for other people to like you, it's because you're searching for something that you're not giving yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because you're scared to confront something that you don't like within yourself. And until you do that, you're not going to open up room for growth and for true self love. And I can honestly say, if everyone else in my life was left me in a way, I would be okay alone. I really would. I would be able to entertain myself. I would be able to be my own best friend. I already am my own best friend. Like
Literally.
literally, like when I lived alone in Florida, everyone was like, "Aren't you bored?" I'm like, "I'm good with me.
I'm
I'm
literally
good."
like, my alone time is my favorite
It,
time.
like even when I'm alone cooking dinner and there is not a single noise happening outside of my mind, I'm good. I'm just comfortable and I felt good, and that kind of where like all that self-love came into play. But I feel like it's so important to not, you don't need to seek validation from other people. You don't need to seek, everyone to like you. Like if everyone
Mm-hmm.
likes you, like something's going on.
It's the narrative that they push, though. Think about the presidential candidates right now. They're trying to sell themselves to people so that we like them. Like, everyone feels
Mm-hmm.
that they need to be liked by everyone. That's why people get canceled. Like, duh, the whole world's not gonna like Alex Earl. The whole
Mm-hmm.
world's not gonna like her. If they did, that'd be weird. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we get canceled for a reason because we're different. Everyone wants us to fit into the same mold and be the same person. And I think that's the problem with our society today, is like, no one can be different. And if you
Yeah.
step out of line, it's like you're canceled. It's like, well, what if I just have a different way of thinking about that?
Mm-hmm.
They took that
Like
away
God
from that.
forbid.
I actually think politics has a lot to do with the loss of our individuality today.
Yeah, that's honestly a good way of thinking about that. I've never
Wow.
thought of it like that, but it's kind of true.
Mhm.
One example, just this popped into my mind. So this past weekend, I had a Pilates training, and during the training, I just remember like we were like going around in a circle, obviously like introducing ourselves, and then at another point, it it was kind of like open for conversation if like you wanted to talk or like share your responses to like what we wrote down, like feel free to share whatever. And for a split second in my mind, I wasn't going to speak, wasn't going to like share my
Mhm.
answers, and then literally I like heard me feeling like not confident enough to speak, and I was like, yeah, no, not going to work.
Mhm.
Like, do you want to be the person that no one hears from this entire training, or do you want to be the type of person that they feel like if they had questions they could come to you? And
Yeah.
I was like, that's the person I want to be, because that's who I am. Like, if anyone here has a question about teaching, because I'm fortunate enough to already teach group classes, so I feel like I had a lot of experience. There were some people that were coming in with no experience in that sense, and I was like,
Yeah.
I loved having someone not above me, but someone who had experience and I could ask questions. And I want to be that person for other people. So it was like such a split second in my mind of almost like not raising my hand to say something. And then in that moment, obviously, I said what I wanted to say. And then like the rest of the weekend, I almost just like blurted out my feelings, like not blurted in disrespectfully to the
No, but
group
you
leader.
stayed true to yourself.
Yeah, it
You
was,
probably are like, I blurted it because you didn't think once about what you were saying, which
yeah.
was most authentically you.
Exactly. Like when there was something that sparked something in my mind, like I shared that with the group because the point was to learn and grow and like in that training and feel comfortable to go teach a Pilates class. So I was like, if there was something that came in my mind, I'm like, well, I might as well share it because maybe someone else is thinking this.
Yeah.
Maybe someone else wasn't thinking this and now it can enlighten them even more. And it was, I don't know, it was like one of those moments where I feel like my leadership personality really did come out and I almost let it slip, but once you start practicing and embodying that, you you spend less and less time in the questioning whether you should do it.
Yeah.
Like I literally spent a half a second in the questioning and then it was gone. Before, I might have let that one question go and then forced myself to do it the next time around. This time there was no room for error. It
Yeah.
was like just go, just do it, say it,
It's
whatever it is.
it's funny because that just sparked the thought in my head of like decisiveness is kind of key. You can't really give yourself room to think about if they'll like it or not if you just tell yourself I don't care, like do it, make the
Yeah.
decision, and you just do
Mhm.
it, like it'll just happen, and then you'll be like, oh, like I stayed true to myself, you know what I mean? Like you didn't
Mhm.
give yourself more than a second there to think about it, and I think if you did, you maybe wouldn't have spoke up. You
Well,
just said immediately, I have to go say
yeah.
something.
Well, and in all honesty, like what I say, are they really gonna be thinking about what I said more than me? You know what I mean? Like, why do I give
Literally think,
myself that
yeah.
much credit? And like, I'm not the main character at this training at all. So like, what does it matter what I say? These two sentences that I'm about to say, like, why does it matter? Because they're all gonna move on very quickly after
Hmm.
this. Like, I am not
Wait, that's
the
such a
main
good
attraction
point.
here. So
That's such a good point, and I think that's where a lot of us go wrong. We think we're the main character in everyone's life, so every
mhm.
action we do, we think they're paying such close attention to it, and it's like, do you pay that close attention to like do you look at someone else's story and really examine it?
Mhm.
I
No.
don't. So why do I think someone else is? And by the way, if you are doing that, no offense, but like check yourself. Why are you judging so harshly? Maybe that's why you're judging yourself so harshly too. Like if
Mhm.
you just soften your heart a bit and were open-minded to other people's differences, you would be open-minded to your differences as well.
And another point to note on that, if you are worried about people judging you or talking behind your back or just not liking you, chances are they're jealous of you in a way, or they have some of their own shit they got to figure out. That
Hmm.
is always something I tell myself. And like, I've storied a couple quotes on my personal page about this before of like,
It just
if,
like randomly like pops off and it's like,
yeah,
sit
like
down.
literally, it's like, sit down. Okay, I'm just going to read one of the more aggressive ones that I storied this past summer.
Good. Embrace who you are.
Yeah. And I just story and go, love this. It says, an athlete won't judge you for working out. A millionaire won't judge you for starting a business. A musician won't judge you for trying to sing a song. It's always the people going nowhere that have something to say. See? Like,
True.
but it's so true. It's like the people who aren't doing anything are always the ones that have something to say. And I don't mean to like shit on anyone else, but that is kind of the mentality that I go into, especially with everything Krause of being like, what we're doing might not be for everyone. And if anyone that maybe knows us from grade school, from high school, from college is like, what are these girls doing? I literally don't care because you do not know where I'm going, and you're not going where I'm going because you're too scared to do it. Like that, you almost
Exactly.
have to hype yourself up in a sense. Like it's okay that you're not doing what we're doing, but don't judge me for trying to better my life.
Yeah.
Right. And I just think when you go
Like,
at
I'm
it with,
taking action to build a life for myself.
yeah.
Maybe you're not taking any action and that's why you're judging.
And if you talk to any other content creator, like if I were to go talk to someone like Paige Lorenz or Maggie McDonald and was like, oh my God, like they would be like, go post it, do it. Like, like that's what they would say because they're where we want to be, right? It's like athlete won't judge you for working out. The content creators won't judge us for creating content. It's the same thing. And I just feel like that's the mentality that I really, really try and embody because once I start telling myself that, you see how passionate I got? Like I literally hype myself up to the point where there is no room for caring about what other people think about me. There is legitimately no room.
Yeah.
Couldn't
There
care
is no
less.
room.
It's just like whatever. Like you do you and I'm going to keep doing me regardless of what you're saying.
And
And
honestly, how happy do you feel in life right now?
yeah, very
Like
happy.
with yourself, like put out all the other life stresses aside. With yourself, how happy do you feel?
Very aligned and very, very at peace with myself. And it just goes to show I was just talking to Isabel about another opportunity that popped up this morning for me. And it's literally wild the opportunities that just seamlessly come into life when you are your true authentic self. Like for even for Isabel and I, like massive opportunities that we would have dreamed of, but never would have thought come at this point in our life are happening. And it's like, it's because we just fully surrendered to what we were doing, fully surrendered to doing it, staying the same human beings,
Yeah.
not changing who we are. And like, we didn't need to change to get other people's attention. We just
Yeah.
need to stay ourselves to get the brand's attention.
It's like crazy.
It's crazy. So everything alignment.
That's
Kumbaya. This is it. This is all the things that are supposed to be in our life coming together. That's how I feel.
That clip. Everyone go watch that clip. That was crazy. But that's really why we wanted to talk to you guys about this today, because it truly is one of the most fundamental things in life, I think, to be okay with who you are and to love who you are and embrace your differences. Because if you are constantly seeking validation from other people, you will be hungry for the rest of your life. You really will. You will never achieve your fullest potential because you're constantly being put down by the thought of what other people think. It is one of, I think, the biggest things that holds people back in our world today. And like, that's why I just wanted to talk about it, because I want to put an end to it for all of you. Literally every single one of you. Just no, be yourself.
Like literally, if you're listening to this and you've been thinking about like posting more of your workouts on your story, what books you're reading, going on a walk, your food, just start posting it. Like start doing it. When I see people starting to do that a little bit more, I'm like, nice. I love to
I get
see
so
it.
excited.
I like
I'm
all
like,
their stories. I
yeah.
might not have ever been in their story like yours, and all of a sudden I'm like
Wait, this is so
like
classic.
random girls. I'm like,
This
love
is
this.
so random. This kid from Malvern, not sorry, but like he definitely doesn't listen. If he did listen, I'm hyping you up. This kid from Malvern, I saw him like turn his personal page into like a content creation page, and he like changed his whole bio, and he was like offering you like faith, like super aligned with me, honestly, and like our values. But I just saw him like pushing it on his personal page, and I literally liked like the one day he had up 7 stories. I was like,
Yeah.
'cause I was just like, this is so awesome. Like I've never seen this kid do it, and I just wanted to let him know, like, keep being you, like keep posting the shit you're doing. And it was funny because I just was like, that's so random. Like I would have never ever been in like I don't remember last time I talked to this kid. I was probably 16 last time I saw him.
You would have never been in his story like yours before.
Yeah. And I was like, I hope you don't take that weird.
Yeah. But I feel like people who are almost doing that kind of like get the vibe. Like whenever someone like likes something motivational, my thing, I'm not like, oh, they're trying to like, I'm just like, oh, I'm glad you liked that too. You know what I mean? I'm glad that resonated with you in some way. And I'm happy that I shared it so that you could see it. Like that's how I kind of feel. But yeah, I think this could go on for honestly a while because
we said this was going to be a short episode.
It's hard not to just like continuously talk to each other about this. And I don't know, like I just feel some sort of responsibility in a way, not in like bad responsibility, but to share kind of how we think about this and like how we feel. Of course, we have our ups and downs about this. Like I don't always feel super confident posting my stories. Sometimes I do second guess it, but I feel like we've come I feel like we've come so far in our journey of self-love and just accepting who we are that it would be a disservice not to share that and not to talk about it. And we do have people listening to this podcast, whether it's one person or 1,000 people. We have like a duty to those people to remind them that this is important and remind them that this is an issue in our world, that it doesn't need to be for everyone. Like I really do feel like we can all heal ourselves, and there probably would be less hate in the world if everyone loved themselves a little bit more.
Yeah, because honestly, when you really love yourself, you don't really like care what other people are doing anyway.
No.
Like that's even with the election, I'm like, well, I love my views. I love how I think about this. I don't really care what you think about it because I love how I think about it. So
and I imagine you have your own views, and I respect
imagine
that.
you're just as passionate. So
Yeah. It's just exactly. And I feel like that's a good thing to end this as we go into election season, of remembering that it would be weird if we all liked the same person. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. Sis, what is one thing that, we don't want to change anyone or force them to do something, but I do feel like talking about feeling aligned, like this is something that will truly bring that together for a lot of people.
If you want to embrace who you are, I think that you probably want to like this podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel, comment on our Instagrams, like our Instagrams, follow us. Just please interact with us and help us push the word of no sugar out. We think this is a really important message. And I know we say that at the end of every episode, but everything that we bring to you guys, we feel is extremely important in growth and getting to the next stage of our life. So please help us support us.
Yes, amen to that, sister. So we hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, an amazing rest of your week, and we will see you next time.